We all have habits we wish we could break. Maybe it's scrolling endlessly on your phone, eating junk food when stressed, or procrastinating on important tasks. These habits feel comforting in the moment, but deep down, we know they're holding us back. Why is it so hard to let go of them? And more importantly, how can we break free? Stoicism offers timeless wisdom to help us understand and overcome these challenges. It teaches us that while we can't always control what happens to us, we can control how we respond. By applying Stoic principles, we can gain the clarity and strength needed to replace bad habits with better ones. This video will guide you through 10 lessons that will help you understand why bad habits have such a strong grip on you and provide practical steps to break free. Lesson 1. Bad habits provide instant gratification, making them hard to resist. Think of a sweet treat. You want it now. You get a quick burst of pleasure. This is instant gratification. It feels good. It feels easy. Your brain loves easy. It loves quick. This is why bad habits stick. They give you a reward right away. But what about later? The treat is gone. You might feel bad. You might feel guilty. The quick pleasure fades. The long-term effects remain. This is the problem. Instant gratification blinds us. It hides the future. It hides the real cost. We are wired for the present. We seek comfort. We avoid pain. This is natural, but it can trap us. We choose the easy path. We choose the quick fix. We ignore the long road, the road to real growth, the road to lasting happiness. Stoicism teaches us to look beyond the moment, to see the bigger picture, to understand consequences, to value long-term well-being. This is not easy. It takes practice. It takes discipline. But it is worth it. We must learn to delay gratification, to choose the harder path, the path of virtue, the path of wisdom. This is where true strength lies. It is in the ability to say no to the immediate, to say yes to the long term. Consider the athlete. They train hard. They endure pain. They delay pleasure. They focus on the goal. They know the reward will come. They know it will be greater. This is the mindset we need to see the value in delayed reward. To understand the cost of instant pleasure, we must train our minds to resist the pull of the moment, to focus on what truly matters, to build habits that serve us, habits that align with our values, habits that lead to a better life. It is not about denying ourselves all pleasure. It is about choosing wisely. It is about understanding the difference between fleeting pleasure and lasting joy. It is about building a life of meaning, a life of purpose, a life of virtue. Lesson 2. Your brain craves the dopamine rush associated with these habits. Dopamine is a chemical. It lives in your brain. It makes you feel good. It is released when you do something pleasurable, when you eat a treat, when you scroll social media, when you indulge in a bad habit. Your brain loves dopamine. It wants more. It seeks it out. This is why bad habits are addictive. Your brain craves the rush. It craves the feeling. It wants to repeat the action. This is not a weakness. It is biology. It is how your brain works. But we can learn to manage it. We can learn to control it. We can learn to redirect it. Stoicism teaches us to understand our nature, to understand our impulses, to understand our desires, to not be ruled by them, to use reason, to use logic, to use self-control. We can choose to release dopamine in healthier ways, by exercising, by learning new skills, by helping others, by spending time in nature. These activities also release dopamine, but they also build us up. They make us stronger. They make us better. We can train our brains to associate pleasure with positive actions, to associate reward with good habits, to rewire our neural pathways, to create new patterns, to break free from old ones. It is not easy. It takes time. It takes effort. But it is possible. We are not slaves to our biology. We are not victims of our impulses. We are capable of change. We are capable of growth. We can learn to find joy in the process, in the effort, in the struggle, in the journey, not just in the destination. This is where true satisfaction lies, in the knowledge that we are building ourselves, in the knowledge that we are growing, in the knowledge that we are becoming better. We must learn to appreciate the small victories, the small steps, the small changes. They add up. They lead to big results. They lead to lasting change. They lead to a better life. Lesson 3. Stress and emotions often trigger the urge to fall back into bad habits. Stress is a part of life. We all experience it. Emotions are a part of life. We all feel them. But how we respond to them matters. It determines our path. It shapes our future. When we are stressed, when we are emotional, we often seek comfort. We seek relief. We seek escape. This is when bad habits take hold. They offer a temporary escape. They offer a brief respite. They offer a moment of relief. But this relief is fleeting. It is short-lived. It does not solve the problem. It only masks it. It only delays it. The stress remains. The emotions persist. Stoicism teaches us to face our emotions, to acknowledge them, to understand them, to not be ruled by them, to use reason, to use logic, to use self-control. We can learn to manage stress by practicing mindfulness, by practicing meditation, by practicing deep breathing, by practicing exercise, by practicing gratitude. These activities help us calm our minds. They help us regulate our emotions. They help us find peace. We can learn to process our emotions by journaling, by talking to a friend, by seeking professional help, by reflecting on our experiences, by learning from our mistakes. These activities help us understand ourselves. They help us grow. They help us heal. We can learn to build resilience, to bounce back from setbacks, to learn from failures, to adapt to change, to embrace challenges. These qualities help us navigate life's ups and downs. They help us build a strong foundation. They help us live a fulfilling life. We are not defined by our emotions. We are not defined by our stress. We are defined by how we respond to them. We are defined by our choices. We are defined by our actions. We can choose to respond with wisdom. We can choose to respond with virtue. We can choose to respond with strength. We can choose to build a better future. Lesson 4. Willpower alone isn't enough. You need a clear plan to break free. Willpower is a tool. It is a valuable tool. But it is not the only tool. It is not enough to simply say, I will stop. You need a plan. You need a strategy. You need a system. Think of a builder. They do not just start building. They have a blueprint. They have a plan. They have a system. They know what to do. They know how to do it. We need a blueprint for our lives, a plan for our habits, a system for our actions. We need to know what we want. We need to know how to get there. Stoicism teaches us to be intentional, to be deliberate, to be purposeful, to plan our actions, to anticipate challenges, to prepare for obstacles. We can create a plan by setting clear goals, by breaking them down into smaller steps, by creating a timeline, by tracking our progress, by celebrating our achievements. We can identify our triggers, by recognizing the situations, by recognizing the emotions, by recognizing the thoughts that lead to bad habits. We can develop coping mechanisms by finding healthy alternatives, by practicing mindfulness, by practicing self-control, by practicing resilience. We can build a support system by finding friends, by finding mentors, by finding groups that can help us stay on track, that can hold us accountable, that can offer encouragement. Willpower is like a muscle. It can be strengthened by practicing self-discipline, by practicing self-control, by practicing self-denial. But it can also be fatigued by overusing it, by relying on it too much. We need to conserve our willpower by creating routines, by creating habits, by creating systems that minimize the need for it, that make good choices automatic, that make bad choices difficult. We need a plan, a clear plan, a detailed plan, a flexible plan, a plan that we can follow, a plan that we can adjust, a plan that will lead us to success. Lesson 5. Identifying triggers is key to overcoming unwanted behaviors. Triggers are the sparks. They ignite the fire. They start the cycle. They lead to bad habits. They are the cues, the signals, the prompts. They can be internal, like emotions, like thoughts, like feelings. They can be external, like places, like people, like situations. They can be subtle. They can be obvious. We must become aware of our triggers, to recognize them, to understand them, to anticipate them, to avoid them. Stoicism teaches us to be observant, to pay attention, to be mindful, to see the patterns, to understand the causes, to control the responses. We can identify our triggers by keeping a journal, by tracking our habits, by reflecting on our experiences, by asking ourselves questions. By seeking feedback, we can avoid our triggers. By changing our environment, by changing our routines, by changing our relationships, by changing our thoughts, we can develop coping mechanisms. By practicing mindfulness, by practicing meditation, by practicing deep breathing, by practicing exercise, by practicing gratitude, we can build resilience. By learning from our mistakes, by adapting to change, by embracing challenges, by focusing on what we can control. Identifying triggers is like finding the weak points in a wall. Once you know where they are, you can reinforce them, you can strengthen them, you can prevent them from breaking. It is not about blaming yourself. It is about understanding yourself. It is about taking responsibility. It is about taking control. We are not victims of our triggers. We are not slaves to our impulses. We are capable of change. We are capable of growth. We can learn to manage our triggers. We can learn to control our responses. We can learn to build a better future. Lesson 6. Replacing bad habits with healthier alternatives can rewire your brain. Your brain is plastic. It can change, it can adapt, it can grow, it can learn. This is neuroplasticity. This is the power of your brain. When you repeat a habit, you create a pathway in your brain, a neural pathway. The more you repeat it, the stronger the pathway becomes. It becomes automatic. It becomes ingrained. To break a bad habit, you need to create a new pathway, a healthier pathway, a more positive pathway. You need to replace the old habit with a new one. Stoicism teaches us to focus on virtue, to focus on wisdom, to focus on justice, to focus on courage, to focus on temperance, to replace negative thoughts with positive ones, to replace harmful actions with helpful ones. We can replace bad habits with healthier alternatives by exercising instead of scrolling, by reading instead of watching, by meditating instead of worrying, by helping others instead of isolating, by practicing gratitude instead of complaining. We can create new routines by incorporating healthy habits into our daily lives, by making them automatic, by making them ingrained. We can reinforce positive behaviors by rewarding ourselves, by celebrating our achievements, by acknowledging our progress. We can rewire our brains by repeating positive actions, by repeating positive thoughts, by repeating positive feelings. It is not about denying ourselves all pleasure. It is about choosing wisely. It is about understanding the difference between fleeting pleasure and lasting joy. It is about building a life of meaning, a life of purpose, a life of virtue. We are not defined by our past habits. We are not limited by our past choices. We are capable of change. We are capable of growth. We can create a new future. a better future, a brighter future. Lesson 7. Consistency is crucial. Small daily changes lead to long-term success. Small steps. They add up. They lead to big results. They lead to lasting change. This is the power of consistency. Think of a river. It carves a canyon, not by rushing, but by flowing steadily. By flowing consistently, we must be like the river, steady, consistent, persistent. We must make small changes every day, every week, every month. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, to focus on our actions, to focus on our choices, to focus on the present moment. We can make small changes by waking up earlier, by exercising for a few minutes, by meditating for a few minutes, by reading a few pages, by helping someone in need. We can build momentum by celebrating our small wins, by acknowledging our progress, by staying motivated. We can create routines by incorporating healthy habits into our daily lives, by making them automatic, by making them ingrained. We can build discipline by practicing self-control, by practicing self-denial, by practicing self-discipline. Consistency is not about perfection. It is about progress. It is about showing up. It is about doing the work. It is about building a foundation, a strong foundation, a lasting foundation. We are not defined by our failures. We are not limited by our setbacks. We are defined by our persistence. We are defined by our resilience. We can create a new future, a better future, a brighter future, one small step at a time. Lesson 8. Accountability from friends or groups can help you stay on track. We are social beings. We crave connection. We crave support. We crave accountability. Having someone to hold us accountable, having someone to encourage us, having someone to support us. This can make all the difference. Stoicism teaches us to value community, to value friendship, to value relationships, to seek guidance from wise mentors. We can find accountability by joining a group, by finding a mentor, by finding a friend, by sharing our goals, by tracking our progress, by seeking feedback. We can build a support system by surrounding ourselves with positive people, by surrounding ourselves with people who inspire us, by surrounding ourselves with people who challenge us. We can learn from others by listening to their experiences, by learning from their mistakes, by learning from their successes. We can offer support to others by encouraging them, by helping them, by holding them accountable. Accountability is not about judgment. It is about support. It is about encouragement. It is about helping each other grow. We are not alone. We are part of a community. We are part of a network. We are part of something bigger than ourselves. We can achieve more together. We can accomplish more together. We can build a better future together. Lesson 9. Mindfulness helps you recognize urges without acting on them. Mindfulness is the practice of being present, of being aware, of being non-judgmental. It is about observing our thoughts, observing our feelings, observing our sensations, without reacting, without judging. Stoicism teaches us to focus on the present moment, to focus on what we can control, to focus on our inner state. We can practice mindfulness by meditating, by practicing deep breathing, by practicing yoga, by practicing Tai Chi, by practicing walking meditation. We can become aware of our urges by noticing them, by acknowledging them, by observing them, without acting on them. We can create space between the urge and the action by pausing, by reflecting, by choosing a different response. We can develop self-control by practicing mindfulness, by practicing meditation, by practicing self-discipline. Mindfulness is not about suppressing our urges. It is about understanding them. It is about managing them. It is about choosing our response. It is about building awareness. It is about building presence. It is about building inner peace. We are not defined by our urges. We are not limited by our impulses. We are capable of choice. We are capable of control. We can create a new future, a future of awareness, a future of peace, a future of freedom. Lesson 10. Celebrate small wins to build motivation and reinforce positive change. Small wins. They matter. They count. They build momentum. They build motivation. They reinforce positive change. Think of a plant. It grows slowly. It grows steadily. It grows with each new leaf. With each new root, we must celebrate our small wins, our small steps, our small changes. We must acknowledge our progress. We must reinforce our positive behaviors. Stoicism teaches us to appreciate the present moment, to appreciate our efforts, to appreciate our progress, to find joy in the journey. We can celebrate our wins by acknowledging them, by rewarding ourselves, by sharing them with others, by reflecting on them. We can build motivation by focusing on our progress, by focusing on our achievements, by focusing on our goals. We can reinforce positive change by repeating positive actions, by repeating positive thoughts, by repeating positive feelings. Celebrating small wins is not about being arrogant. It is about being grateful. It is about being positive. It is about being motivated. It is about building confidence. It is about building momentum. It is about building a better future. We are not defined by our past. We are not limited by our present. We are capable of change. We are capable of growth. We can create a new future, a future of success, a future of happiness, a future of fulfillment. Breaking free from bad habits is not easy, but it is possible. By applying the principles of Stoicism, you can gain the clarity, strength, and motivation needed to make lasting change. Remember, you are in control of your actions. Every small step you take brings you closer to the person you want to be. Stay consistent, stay mindful, and celebrate your progress. You have the power to break free. Start today.